Hey everybody, Nubkeks here, and in this video I want to talk about what are the best agents in XCOM Chimera Squad. Probably one of the first questions that people want to know about the game. So I just finished it today myself on hard difficulty, so I'm going to talk you through my agents and which ones are the best. I think that there are two out of the ones I have here that are tier 1 that are pretty much absolutely mandatory and are just heads and shoulders way better than every other agent in the game from what I can tell. So I'll explain why, and you'll see why when we get into them. Three things before we start. Number one, there will be spoilers in terms of the agent abilities and some of the gear you can get in the game, some of the weapons and armor and stuff like that. So just bear that in mind. If you don't want any spoilers, this is not the video for you, sorry to say. Number two, you can only get 8 out of 11 agents in your campaign. There's going to be 3 that you have to pass up at least. So it is quite important that you do get the best agents here. You could miss out on the best agents in the game if you're not careful. So do bear that in mind. The 3 that I don't have are Shelter, Patchwork, and Claymore, who are all supposed to be pretty decent. Apparently Claymore could potentially be a tier 1 agent as well. So I'm kind of sad that I missed him. But there you go. Just bear that in mind. And then number 3, do like the video if you like it, and leave a comment and subscribe. Hi, let's be friends, all that stuff. Speaking of friends, this is our friendly snack, our first agent. This is Torque. Torque is very solid, very good agent actually, especially in the early game and the mid game. She does fall off a little bit in the late game. In terms of her abilities, baseline, she's got some really good ones, which just make her solid off the bat. Tongue pull takes 1 action, doesn't end her turn. You can pull an enemy towards you or an ally towards you into melee range, which is awesome. You can pull guys out of cover. It's got a very good hit chance, so it just helps you deal with some enemies that you otherwise couldn't deal with. And it enables her other starting ability, which is Bind, which is fantastic. We can wrap up an enemy. It's a free action. You can use it after tongue pull for free, even if you've already spent your action points this turn. It does 2 damage, bypasses armor. And if she loses the bind if she gets shot, but if she doesn't get shot, doesn't take any damage, and the bind isn't broken, it will make that enemy miss their turn. So very easy actually, like at the start of the game when you're struggling. You see that there's an enemy coming up after Torque who's kind of scary. Move her into range, tongue pull that enemy in, bind them up, they miss their turn, you did some free damage to them. It's pretty fantastic. She can like climb through vents, not that useful. Poison immunity is pretty nifty though. She also gets some very cool abilities, and also her stats are good too. Like, she gets a lot of natural dodge, so she's very tanky, and her aim is solid and all of that as well. Deputy Agent, Toxic Greeting, really nice. Breaching ability, just guaranteed damage. It's a guaranteed 3 damage, plus you poison them for 2 turns, so they take an extra 2 damage per turn, so it does 7 damage in total. And it also lowers their aim by, I think it's 15% while they're poisoned, so that's really good. At Field Agent, I made a mistake and I took Hard Target, which is bad. You want to take Field Agent, which is amazing. What this does, this is the one problem with the game, which is bad tooltips. Bind does 2 damage by default. This upgrades it to 5 damage per default, which bypasses armor and is 100% guaranteed to hit. So this is amazing. And if I had this, I probably would have used her even further into the late game. She just kind of fell off a little bit because I didn't have this. Poison Spit is great. AoE poison damage, fantastic. Poisons people in an AoE, so you can like poison, spit, tongue pull, and bind. Fantastic. Senior Agent, this stuff isn't great to be honest. Armor and not releasing an enemy upon taking damage. You probably actually do want to go with that, with the bind thing. I didn't take it because I didn't take the bind thing, so I figured it would be bad. Synthetic Venom is a bit underwhelming. You tend to kill things quick enough once you get to the mid and late game that the crit bonus against them won't be used all that much. And then unfortunately Vicious Bite at Principal Agent is terrible. So it ends her turn, so you can't bind them. Bind will do a guaranteed 5 damage, 100% hit chance 5 damage. This is a 70% chance to do 5 damage. It poisons them, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they buff this. It's just a bit weird. So yeah, Torque, very solid. Lots of utility with the tongue pull, lots of utility with the bind, and she does good damage while being tanky herself, so a great agent and well worth picking up. Next up we have Godmother. Seems kind of boring at the start, I would say. Her thing is that she uses shotguns, which is really good because shotguns are the best weapon type in the game. Best damage, best hit chance, best crit chance. Terrible range, but hey, guess what? This game, you're in close quarters like all the time. So yeah, it's fantastic. She's gonna do a ton of damage. One thing with her is that she's gonna get much better when you get a reflex grip, where standard shots do not automatically end the turn. This is where she gets really, really nice, because you can start just blasting people with shotguns and do crazy amounts of damage with that. It's super good. Combos really well with Alpha Strike, which is a breaching move. Gives her one bonus action when she breaches in, which is great. You can go in there with your shotgun then, with the reflex grip or whatever it's called, and you can get 3 shotgun shots right on turn 1. Fantastic. You just become a shotgun machine gun. It's great. It's a full auto shotgun. On top of this, she has not Shredder, Scatter Shot by default. Actually kind of useful. Short range, very short range, but it is an AoE damage ability, which can be nice, hit multiple units. And then she gets some other great stuff. Flush is, I took Flush, which I think is quite useful too. It doesn't end her turn, so at the start of the game, this is something useful she can do. Push an enemy out of cover, then shoot them in the face with a shotgun. Always feels good. Ventilate is fantastic. This is where she really starts to get good. So this does a guaranteed 100% hit chance, no matter what cover the enemy has, to do 6 to 10 damage, which is fantastic. It costs 3 ammo, but it's just extremely good. So again, for example, when you've got that reflex grip, you can come in on your first turn, you can shoot one guy in the face with the shotgun on your right, one guy on your left, and then you can ventilate, snipe. This is also really long range as well. It turns your gun into like a railgun sniper. You can ventilate, shotgun, some guy who's hiding behind high cover on the high ground. You have the high ground. It's over Anakin, not this time, because Godmother is here with Ventilate. Her abilities are all really good too, these choices. I think Last Stand's okay. I think Untouchable's okay. Next attack against her will miss if she kills somebody. I personally went for Close Combat Specialist, which is really good against a lot of enemy types that do go into melee. She just gets to shoot them for free. Fantastic. And yeah, then she gets overtime as well. Bonus crit and dodge, and takes an additional action in 3 turns, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, she's super good. Super good. Really scales well into late game with weapon mods and all of that. Now, someone who's even better than that though is Terminal. She is a tier 1 agent. You absolutely want her on your squad. She is incredibly good. Mandatory, I would say. Basically mandatory. She just takes a lot of stress off of your 3 encounter missions and off of any boss mission. Simply because of Safeguard, really, where she heals an ally. She's the only unit in the game that can heal an ally. You can obviously heal yourselves with medkits, but they're 1 charge. She can heal somebody every single turn, and it doesn't end the turn. She can heal someone, and then she can shoot as well, or she can use one of her supporting abilities. She's just amazing. She's super strong. It just makes it way less stressful. You take a bad hit, you find a new enemy on one of the boss missions. You find a new enemy, he does a ton of damage to one of your guys, maybe he hits you with like a grenade attack or an explosive attack you didn't know existed. Oh god, suddenly you're down a bunch of health. It's very scary. How are you going to finish this boss mission? Can you even move your shotgun users up close? Are they going to be in too much danger? What do you do? Terminal, no problem, heal them up, you're good. Refresh, it's not too bad. It's a breaching skill. It's free, so quite useful, and she can use it from any position in the breach, so that's great. Maybe not the front position. You kind of want to send her in last though anyway. She can use it from the last place, which is cool. At Field Agent, I would recommend Pin Down. Pin Down is actually surprisingly good. It pushes an enemy down in the timeline. This can be very useful just to stop bad stuff going off before you've got a chance to respond to it. A Special Agent, she gets Cooperation, which is amazing as well. You just give an ally an extra action. Amazing synergies with certain units that can do a special action once per turn, so that can be really good. And it just you could just at worst you could use it on like a shotgun user and they can do an extra shotgun shot, so it's a win. At Senior Agent, I would recommend Armor System, where Safeguard gives armor to a protected unit. That's really good. Terminal Healing to full is really unnecessary. She's going to be full health anyway all the time because she's overpowered. And then Second Wind, we just get to heal everybody once per mission, which again is it's just a big safety blanket. It's just a big safety blanket that keeps you in the game. So highly recommend her. You want her on every boss mission, guaranteed. Next up, we have Cherub. Cherub's not terrible, but Cherub is a supporting unit, and the thing is that Terminal is just better. That's kind of Cherub's problem. He's not as bad as I expected him to be, though. He's okay. Now, his big deal is the kinetic shield, where it doesn't end his turn. So every turn he can put out a shield on one ally, which will absorb all the damage of the next attack. It's actually really, really good. It's a great ability. It really is. It's fantastic. And this gives him some charge, and he can spend the charge to bash enemies and do more damage. His damage output is just a little bit low overall. He's not bad by any means. He's not bad, and the kinetic shield is great. You can certainly use him, and I obviously did use him a bunch of times. But he's not amazing. One of his best things is that he uses a pistol, which, although it is one of the worst weapon types in the game, you will want to upgrade the pistols. So he's going to have an upgraded weapon just for free, which is kind of nifty. For his things, he gets phalanx, which will absorb shots when you breach in. This is actually great. Though you do have to all go through the same breach point, or he won't taunt the enemies. They'll shoot people in other breach points, like no problem at all. I took Generator, where he gets extra charge. It's okay. You could also take Guard. That seems a bit clunky to me to use, where he becomes half cover for allies, but it might be kind of okay. Might be nifty. I'm not sure if it's a free action or not, which would kind of depend on how good it is. If it's not a free action, it's terrible, and I just take this. Makes them better on longer missions, and you kind of don't want to take these supportive units that much on one encounter missions. You just want to bring damage and finish them quickly. This is nice for those 3 encounter missions, which is where you want the supports. Overload, you can have 3 charges, and you gain bonus mobility when fully charged, which is part of what makes this maybe okay. And then over here, you can get bonus aim, which is really, really nice. You could also get, if you render an enemy unconscious, you could get 1 charge back. Not great, I don't think. But that said, I didn't get him to Principal Agent. I didn't use him that much towards the end, because Terminal's just better. So I don't know what his final training was, or what his final ability was. They could be very good. So I think he's solid enough. He's a decent choice. If you hate Terminal, I'd definitely pick him up. Next up, we have Birch. Birch, unfortunately, is the worst out of all of these agents. Birch just isn't very good. I will say, in the early game, he's great. He's very strong in the early game, because he comes with 2 very nice abilities. Stupor, which is 1 action, but doesn't end the turn, and you stun an enemy, which is great for 1 to 2 actions. Enemies get 2 actions per turn, so if you stun them for 2 actions, they miss their whole turn, which is awesome. He also gets Battle Madness, where he makes an enemy berserk. So they'll just go shoot their ally, so you can put that on a high damage enemy. Or if you've got bad shots yourself, you can do that, and you get some damage out of it, which is pretty nice. Both of these add targets to the neural network, which gives Birch bonus aim. So in the early game, he's very good. In the early game, he gives you an agent who's going to be able to do some CC every turn, pretty much, unless there's no targets that are available, like if they're robots, or if he's already stunned them once, you can't stun them again. And then he gets bonus aim for it, which really carries him in the early game. He'll be very accurate. He's very good early game. Really, really good. Problem with Birch. Why do I say he's the worst agent? He's the worst because he falls off really badly towards the late game. Towards the late game, he basically does the exact same thing. He doesn't get any worthwhile bells and whistles to go on top of it. He gets Levitate, which is pretty underwhelming. You can lift up an enemy during the breach, but it doesn't do any damage. It just cancels alert or aggressive behaviors, and it removes cover bonuses. I mean, once you get better weapons, you just kind of want to shoot instead, so it's pretty bad. At Field Agent, this one's actually really good, and I would recommend this for sure. Crowdsource, it gives some crit chance and even more aim for each enemy, so that's really nice. Collar, I think, is pretty bad, and you'll be able to knock people unconscious just fine without it. Mind Flay sounds really cool, where you'll damage enemies in the neural network. Now, here's the thing, it ends your turn, and the damage is terrible. I think it only does like 2 damage to each target, which is just so bad, and it does not scale well at all in the game. At Senior Agent, network healing is okay, gives them some healing, but it's not great. Slam makes Levitate do 1 to 3 damage and put them in the neural network. Again, it's just kind of bad. Like, if you're gonna levitate something, it's because you want to shoot them and kill them during the breach, I suppose. I don't know, I just don't really see the point in it. It's just not good enough. And then he gets Puppeteer, which sounds really cool, but is really not very useful. Once per mission, you can mind control enemies in the neural network for 1 turn. Unfortunately, it has a really, really bad hit chance. Like, it's just half the time it misses. So it just does nothing, and it ends his turn. So he can't even shoot that turn. It's just bad, unfortunately. It's just not good enough. Great early game. Really good early game, can even carry your early game, but then he gets really, really bad. So yeah, sorry Verge. Very good at doing Spec Ops though, if you want someone for that. Now in comparison, can I just show you this in comparison? Can we just take a look at this? Okay. Verge, 19 missions, 25 kills. Blue blood, 22 missions, 112. Yeah, so welcome to the best agent in the game, even better than Terminal. This is Blue blood. Blue blood is disgustingly powerful. He is insanely good. Insanely good. Now, he's probably terrible in the early game. He was one of the last agents I got. In the early game, he fights with a pistol. Pistols do very, very low damage. The thing here is, this is what's crucial, is that all of your weapon upgrade tiers give an extra +1 damage to the weapon. Now, when you've got a shotgun, I mean, that's still really good to get an extra +1 damage, but it's even better on a low damage weapon like the pistol. That flat damage is proportionately larger for that weapon. Same thing with ammo. Ammo can give +1 damage, and you start adding all that stuff up, and it gets really strong. Now, on top of that, he also has Desperado by default, where he can shoot for his first action and it doesn't end the turn. So he can shoot his pistol twice, just by default from level 1. You start adding that up, and it just gets insanely good. It just gets insanely good. He can do so much freaking damage. It is crazy. He also gets a whole bunch of crit baseline as well. He's got great aim, as if that stuff wasn't good enough. The only problem with him is that he's squishy, but I mean, he just kills everything, so it's not going to matter too much. Deputy Agent, he gets Lancer Shot. This is a breaching thing, which wasn't really ever useful. It ignores cover bonuses, but by end game, he's kind of just hit everything anyway, so it doesn't matter. This one is great at Field Agent. He gets Overwatch. Now, for every other unit in the game, every other agent, as far as I know, well, certainly ones I had, Overwatch is directional. You have to choose which way it goes. This is like the old XCOM, XCOM like Enemy Unknown or XCOM 2 Overwatch, where it's just omnidirectional. And this is great. This works off of Subdue. It works off of Stabilize. It works off of Dash. So you can like go into your turn, take a shot, dash him into a new piece of cover. He gets Overwatch and he can just shoot anything that moves in his line of sight, which is incredible. He gets Phase Lance. This is actually not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I actually used this a fair few times, where you can shoot through cover. Oftentimes you can hit an enemy who's low health and clip one in the back as well and get some extra damage out of it. It's not amazing, but it's okay. At Senior Agent then, I recommend Fond Farewell, where the last shot in each clip does double damage because he doesn't do enough damage anyway. And then at Principal Agent, this is insane face off. He fires his pistol at every enemy in line of sight, limited by ammo. Now, by default, it has 5 ammo. Shooting 5 enemies in one action is pretty good. It's pretty damn good. You can't really go wrong with that. So he's amazing. You can also get this pistol, which gives you Lightning Hands, where you get a free attack on a 3-turn cooldown. He's just crazy. Oh yeah, sorry. He also gets Deadeye, which is pretty bad again early game. But once you get late game and your aim is super high, it just gives you 50% damage boost pretty much for free, which is kind of incredible. So yeah. Oh, also very, very funny. Godmother, I think her last training gives her a free reload whenever she gets a kill. So you get a kill on your turn, you can reload for free. That's amazing. That's super good. That's super good. I think it's this one. Yeah, scoring a kill gives her a free reload. You get this. I got this and thought, this is amazing. What a great training thing. That's super useful. And then I got Blue Bloods. Reload is a free action. It's just because why not? Why not make him even more overpowered? Why not? He doesn't need to get a kill. He doesn't need anything. It's just always free because why not? So yeah, like you can go in on your turn. Like one turn with him might be you go in, gonna Lightning Hand something for a free shot with my magic pistol. Then I'm gonna Deadeye something for big bonus damage. Hey, cool. Now I'm gonna do a free reload, and then I'm gonna face off and shoot 5 dudes just in the entire room. And you know, yeah, he's the best agent in the game. You should get him. Okay, next up we've got Zephyr. Zephyr's great. Actually, one of my favorites. I think she's probably the best mid-game agent. Probably. The really nice thing about her is that her weapon is just a fist weapon, right? This has upsides and downsides. The downside is that late game, you can't upgrade it. So she does fall off in damage towards the late game. The benefit is that in the early and mid game, her damage is really damn good and it's free. You don't have to research it. You don't have to upgrade it. And while you're busy researching and upgrading like the other weapons for your squad, she's just good to go. Now, she does very much rely on these 2 skills here. Parry. So when she attacks a crippling blow, it's a guaranteed hit, which is awesome. And it can do some CC effects, which are great. She gets to move after it for free. So you can like dash up, punch somebody, and then you get a free move after. This is way better though, parry. You can use that free move to block an attack against her. Super good. You can use this really, you can really manipulate this. You can run her into the enemy team. She can like take somebody down with a punch, and then she goes parry mode, She parries the next attack. She baits the attack onto her because she's standing out in the open. She takes no damage. Then you could do something like grab her, cooperate Zephyr, so give her an extra turn. She runs over, punches somebody else, and gets parry back again. And it's just amazing. It's just super, super good. You want to get pressure point with her. Don't get locked down. I think it's cool, but not good enough. You want to get this. Gives her +1 damage and makes her melee attacks knock people unconscious. This is why she's so good. You get these two abilities, and what do you have? You've got a very, very mobile tank who always hits her attack. It does solid damage. It knocks people unconscious, so it's getting you free intel, and then she'll block attacks as well, so she'd be super tanky. She's just fantastic. Crowd control is nice too. It makes her very vulnerable because she doesn't get parry afterwards, but it gives her a good massive chunk of AoE damage when you can pull it off. I recommend Vital Strike at Senior Agent. Her attacks ignore armor. Again, you need this if you want her to... You could just like not take this and go for Moving Target instead, where Crowd Control will basically give her parry. If you wanted her just to be good for early and mid game and terrible late game, you need this for late game because enemies all have armor pretty much. So this is a big damage increase late game. She gets Reaper, which is okay. Downing an enemy with a melee attack gives her an extra action. Subsequent melee attacks do reduce damage. The problem with this is that it doesn't trigger parry, but it's still useful. You can still pop around and knock a bunch of dudes in the face, and it's pretty nice. It also triggers off crowd control, which is actually pretty sick. So yeah, she's really good. I actually used her a whole bunch. I find her really good. Her kill count is really low, I think, because she's subduing people. I think most of her kills are from grenades. So yeah, oh, that's another nice thing. Hey, cool. Guess what? Where other agents want to use one of their items for ammo, she can use them for grenades, which is a win. And then finally for my agents here, I have Axiom. He's my most used agent. I actually used him one more mission than Terminal, which is fun. And he's got a good number of kills. Axiom is great. He's super tanky. He's a ton of health, a ton of armor. He just doesn't die. He's a big tanky beast with a shotgun. Best weapon in the game. So he's fantastic. He's just really, really good. And the thing is, for me, he was really tanky, and I even took the wrong skills. I didn't take the tanky skills, so Shrug It Off. A good chance to reduce damage, which scales off of his rage as he builds up rage with Psych Up every turn. You can get him regeneration, so he heals every turn. He's just going to be unkillable. I mean, honestly, though, even without these, he's almost unkillable anyway. Aftershock was kind of nice. He can like do an AoE. The damage is basically nothing. It'll do like 1 damage sometimes when you use your smash attack. It's pretty terrible, but the CC chances are okay. And then you can get Fear Factor, where Smash can panic nearby enemies, which is also kind of good. So I went with this sort of rage build, and it was nifty. It's kind of nice to have Battering Ram as well. It doesn't panic enemies that often when you breach a door point, but it happens often enough that it feels pretty good. Adrenal Surge gives them a nice damage output every 4 turns as well. You can just Psych Up to max, and then you can do like 2 or 3 slams, or you can just use use Smash to run up, like do a dash attack, and then you get a free shotgun shot to their face afterwards. It's pretty damn cool. He obviously, his thing is he can go berserk when he takes damage. He can go crazy. But this usually ends up being good. He's so tanky, he's not gonna die. So it just gives you like free attacks and free damage, which is awesome. And then Quake is pretty nice at Principal Agent as well. Big damage in a small AoE. Pretty nifty, not too bad. So yeah, Axiom, he's not the best agent, but he's a really good solid one. The all reliable. Axiom, he's the all reliable. Does good damage, good solid damage, very tanky. Gotta love him. And there you go, guys. That is my thoughts on the best agents in XCOM Chimera Squad. Tier 1 again, Blue Blood, no question. This guy is so disgusting late game, it's not even funny. And also Terminal just gives you that safety. My final mission squad, I think, was Blue Blood and Terminal, obviously, plus Axiom and Zephyr. I probably could have brought in Godmother instead of Axiom or Zephyr instead, because she's amazing late game as well with the scaling with the shotguns. But I think I had her in for training or something, and I forgot to bring her out. It doesn't really matter too much anyway. That's going to be a good squad to do you well in the game. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Have you had luck with any of the agents I haven't mentioned, or did you like the ones I didn't? I'm curious to know. I think they're all certainly usable. They all have very nice strengths for the most part, or have parts of the game where they're really good. So again, like Birch, even though I think he's the worst, very good early game. That sort of thing. So yeah, hope you guys found that helpful. Let me know what you think, and yeah, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.